Hello Internets, I'm here to introduce Four-Eyed Dharma and my part in this project with my bike, and also some of the goals that we're trying to achieve with this project. We have two goals. One goal is to do a massive trip around Vietnam. The goal is to try to do about a month-and-a-half trip to go all around Vietnam, the north, a little bit of the south. Mostly the north is where the goal is to get to. If you've ever seen any videos done in Vietnam where people are riding, you'll see the amazing mountains and landscapes, and also the coastal front. We're doing our best to get a project going to where we can learn how to do these longer trips, especially with my bike. My bike is not the one that's really set up to do this out of the box. Whereas Gregory, he has the CB 500X, the more traditional bike to take on these journeys. And mine is not really the touring bike to begin with, but I'd like it to make that. The one thing about this bike is I fell in love with it from just the very initial thought of just getting the bike and trying to do this project. I saw this bike and I fell in love with it. It just really, I like how unique it's future kind of retro style mixed together. The bad thing about this bike is it's the Asian version. And the Asian version has come with its own challenges that I've had to overcome and try to overcome. I have yet to take it on a very long trip. We did one 2-day-ish trip, which wasn't really far. Things went well. I do have some improvements to make already, but I'm gonna go through a little bit about what I've done with my bike right now, and also some of the goals of this project. So I'll start from the initial front area. I have the fork upgrade kit from, I always mess this up, Adriani upgrade kit. I believe it's what it's called. I always mess that up, so I'll post the logo and the kit in the description, and also on the video here too as well. I'm really happy with this kit. It makes it fully adjustable. The one thing is I'm a little bit heavier, and I'm a little bit heavier than I should be, but I'm a little bit heavier than the stock kit spring rate comes with. So we have another spring on order. Things take a bit of time to get to Vietnam, so I do have a little bit more time before that comes, but I will be upgrading the spring on this to a little bit of stiffer spring. But actually it's changed the bike a lot. Another thing that I've done on the front here is, I got the optional from the dealership, the guard for the light, but I also have done the bar raising kit, which I'll show a little bit more when we come in to view up here. I did this kit, and I'll go through it because this actually might be one of our project's items. With our project, we're going to be trying to make different parts that we need for this bike, because there's not much on the market to really accomplish the goal of touring. And people, this is usually an urban kind of fire road explorer, as people say, but I really want to make it a tour here. So with the suspension kit, I was able to raise the height a lot. So in the Asian kit here itself, it comes with the front forks from what we believe is a KTM 200 Duke 390. When we went to upgrade this, we ran into a big problem where I had to buy the KTM Duke 390 lower tube set. And what we did was we took the lower tube set's end cap here off of the KTM 390 and put it on my tube set, so that we could then install the Adriani kit, fork upgrade kit, the one that comes from the factory in Asia. There's a lot of differences, and the main key to see if you have this is there's a hole in the bottom of this right here. If you don't have that hole on a 2021 and down, actually I checked the 22s as well, they have the same problem. then you're running a really lower grade fork. And there's not much details on it. Like when you try to look up the specs, it's not really there to tell you what's going on. So we changed that, which raised the bike up a lot more. I got more travel now. Not sure if it's enough yet. I hope it is. We'll see. Then from there, the exhaust. We took the exhaust that normally runs underneath the bike. I have now routed it through the engine. I had a custom titanium exhaust built for me here in Vietnam, which is the nice thing about Vietnam is they manufacture a lot. There's a lot of manufacturing here and a lot of bike related manufacturing. It was super affordable for me to get a exhaust titanium made. I think it cost me around $200 to have a custom exhaust made. So that was really nice. And the thing on the muffler here is I'm running the AliExpress cheap muffler slip-on. I really like that. It does not come with a DB killer, so I took a DB killer, a generic DB killer, and added that to it, which has made it really acceptable for riding around the city and such. I'll turn it on and let you hear, and I might do a more in-depth review of this later. The DB killer makes it just more acceptable. I have yet actually to try this without the DB killer with this exhaust setup. I had another setup where I removed the resonator, and I had that exhaust on without the DB killer, and it was just extremely loud. And here in Vietnam, I would probably have some issues with that with the police. So I didn't want to have any issues, but I still wanted it to sound good. And so I have the DB killer still installed now. I might drill it a little bit. I might buy another one and try it and drill it a little bit because I'd like the sound to be a little bit more aggressive, but it's pretty good for now. So that's one thing I've done there. With that, we then took a Duke 390 kit off of what we have here in Vietnam called Lazada. I just found a decent quality skid guard that fit the Duke 390, and the exhaust guys fitted it up for me nicely. So I'll show that a little bit more in depth later. The other thing is I wanted something to protect the engine and the frame well. The only decent thing I could find were these Stunt Bars. These have the skid guard, the I'm forgetting what you call this thing, a little skid stub here, and they are spring loaded. I think this is great for the urban environment, but I'm kind of concerned when it comes to more of the touring and roads that we have to overcome, dirt and such, that it's just really going to grab into the ground. So this is another item that we might look at producing with our project as well. So we'll see. The bar is nice though. The quality is really good. I was happy with the quality. It's sort of a pain in the butt to put on, but it's worth it. And the other thing was I have fog lights, dual. I got the white light and the yellow light fog lights installed on both sides, which makes it super nice when you're driving in Vietnam when there's no lights at night, which saved our butt. The first major trip that me and Gregory did, we hit the road late because we were waiting for his bike, and it's not really something that we want to do, but we had to do, so we had to travel at night, and it's crazy some of the roads here. So this is actually a true lifesaver here, right here. The other thing I did up front here was just a cheap Radiator Guard. These are everywhere, you can buy them and such, so got that. From there I have the foot pegs. These foot pegs are from the KTM Adventure, 390 Adventure bike. They fit nicely on the 2019 and below models. Now if you have a 2022, from what I found from the internet, they have now, and I've checked, I did go up to Husqvarna and check it. This space on the brake and clutch side are more narrow now. So if you try to put these on there, they will fit. It's just that your foot's probably not going to be able to do much with the brake and the shift the lever. So, I mean, on the brake side, you'd probably be okay, but on the shift lever, you're not going to be okay. So from there, we'll work it back here. This is one thing that I have to upgrade, majorly upgrade. My rear suspension, again, with the Asian market, the rear is not what you guys get in the EU and US and such. This is way softer and a lower spring. It's more like the lowering kit they sell, but not complete. Like I said, they do sell a lowering kit, which you can change the insert here to lower it, and you get the spring to lower it here. It's I'm thinking here on it might be the lowering kit that they use for that. On the front, it's definitely not the lowering kit they sell. On the front, they really don't give us a good quality here. So on the rear, I got some Nitron R3s coming, which are super nice. So I'm really looking forward to those coming to also give me a little bit more height and just being able to not bottom out all the time. So with that said, then I'm back onto the plastic here. I added PPF, protection film for that, so that when we're going crazy places that it might not, you know, scratch it too much. And then a wrap on the back here. I didn't like the silver as much. I do like the new 2022's coffee color they have, but I went with a simple black for now. It's pretty cheap here in Vietnam to change these out. I can, you know, I don't even remember the price to put that on. It's so cheap. So I can change it to any color I want pretty much anytime I want, and it's not really a budget problem at all. Other than that, now we get back to the major piece that I want to talk about. This is the rack. Now the rack, I initially got this rack, I looked at a lot. There was one that I really liked, but it was from a company that had kind of died out, it seems like, when COVID hit. So I did a lot of research, thought I got the right one. There was a YouTube video, I can't remember who posted it, but they had this and they said some good things. You can see over here, I'm not sure from the angle if you can see here, but I'll show over. There's another rack that you can be placed on both sides, and you're supposed to be able to mount bags and such like that to it. In my opinion, that's pretty pathetic. It's okay. You can change the mounting position maybe and such and get a bag to mount to it, but it's not really industry standard at all. The metal quality is not bad, but the other problem is if you have a passenger sit here at all, it digs into them. It reminds me a lot of the edge of like a MacBook or something, the suicide, you know, on the wrist. So I'm not happy with this at all. The nice thing is I live in Vietnam, and they actually manufacture racks here. So I'm working with a manufacturer now. We're going to start fabrication, I think next week or the week after, on a rack that's going to be way more just practical. We're going to make it modular a bit so you can have the back or the side plates on it, but I want to make something that's just high quality, really good, and it's going to support us, because I will be living on this bike for over a month. And I don't want to have any issues, and you know, we want to make some products. We'll go into a little bit about this project. We want to make some products for this bike, and maybe Gregory's bike. I mean, Gregory has the Honda, the CB500X, which has huge market. There's a ton of products for that. So most likely we'll be aiming for this bike more. But we want to create some products and some branding and such that just are rider, you know, driven and supportive for the community. And so the nice thing is, since we live here, they manufacture this stuff here, we can work directly with them, and we can do some small batch runs and get some products out and get feedback and then produce them. We don't have to, you know, do a crazy amount of them, but we want to try to make some ability to make a business out of this project to help fund us, help support the hobby, and also make the videos, you know, make it worth it. So we thought that that's a good idea if we make something that's really needed and we can add a little bit of profit to it and help the community out. Because honestly, I paid I believe I paid $230 for this rack, for the top part and the side part kit. Then you have the shipping. They ship it out of Korea. And then on top of that, you have the custom. So I think landed, it costed me, it was about over $300 to get this rack. And this rack is not worth $300. When I took it to the manufacturers that are going to be working with us to build out our rack, and they checked it out, and immediately one guy comes over and just goes like this, flexes it, and just laughs. It's not that the metal quality is bad, it's just that it's not mounted enough. There's not enough support to it. The top plate's not that great either, honestly. And we'll go to more of a tubular system. It's a good quality, but honestly, the color too, I don't understand the mismatch of color. It doesn't seem like they really thought through the fact that, I mean, you just sit on it, you know there's gonna be a problem. So, but it creates, these problems are what we're gonna have fun with. We're gonna find these problems, we're gonna use our resources here and try to create some products that we can then get out to the community that they'll like, and then we can make a little bit of money off of, and then we can help support the community. So I think it's a win-win, and we'll go and we'll see how that is. So let's see if I missed anything. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Then I did the tires. The tires are the Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR. Then Asia, until the 2022 year, the Svartpilen did not come with these. And actually sourcing these in Vietnam is pretty hard. So I was able to source a pair, but the rear I needed to go with one size up, which is fine actually, and I'm really happy with the choice. It makes it look more aggressive. The ride seems to be fine, no problems. The one thing that we had to do was to grind the swing arm down about 2-3 millimeters. But since we did that, it's okay, and it's zero problems. I've put about, I'm over, see, I'm at 3,000 kilometers now, and I took them off at 300 kilometers. So I've gone a fair distance on those things without any problems. So super happy with those. Much more happy than the stock tires. The stock tires they put on here that are from Pirelli, but they're more of the Svartpilen stock tires. So that's nice. And I think I have covered everything. I was thinking about doing a tail tidy, but I think there's too much mud that's going to be flung up top, so I'm not really, I think I'm going to go away from that. I'm not going to do the tail tidy. The other thing to address is the seat is not the most comfortable seat for long haul. So that's one thing too here. There's not a lot of seat options. They do have the comfort seat from Husqvarna that you can get, but I hate the style of it, honestly. I've seen pictures of it. It just doesn't look like it fits. It's for the bike. So they do manufacture seats in this country. And I have been very tempted to look at manufacturing a seat for this bike that is more of a touring purpose, long ride purpose, but also still has I like the stock material actually. I think it's pretty nice. It's just that there's that, or there's also the gel insert ability that you can do, but we'll see. I mean, that's up in the air. There's a lot of molding that would have to be done and such, but it is on the radar to check. So, if you're watching this video and you're interested in this project, you can give me some feedback of what you think would be needed, what you think you would like. The bar raisers here, I'll go into that a bit. The bar raisers, I was able to get some bar raisers that I've never really seen on the market anywhere else, except for there's a Vietnamese site that had them. They told me it's the last pair they had, and they're not getting any more. So I bought it, when it came, and I can show an image here, the quality was subpar, let's say. I was able to fix them, work with one of the good mechanics here and fix them, but I would never recommend this. I do recommend them. I mean, I do like them a lot. They make the feel a lot more like the dirt bike. I rented a CFR Honda, what am I blanking? The Honda 350, the 250, CFR, I think that's right. I'll post it here. Anyways, I rented that dirt bike, and the feel now is a lot more like that. It's less forced on my arm and more just looser and in control. So I really like this. It brought it up and brought it back. And so this is a product that we will probably manufacture too as well. But I want to make sure that it's a good quality. You know, I don't want to have anybody have the same issues that I had, where I have to take it to a machinist and they have to remachine the bits and such. And then one other issue that I have right now, since I'm raising it, is the Asian model also comes with a shorter kickstand. So I'm gonna need to replace that and get a better stand. What I'm probably gonna do is just have one manufactured here and made for me. But I don't think that'll be something that people really want. I don't know. I have seen some aftermarket fully adjustable stands, but I don't know, we'll see on that. The other thing I did was the mirrors. Now, I like the style. I like the ones that come from Husqvarna. They're really nice. They seem like they bolt in really good, but for the price, yeah, this is not worth it. These things get banged up, especially in Southeast Asia with all the people on their bikes and such. This thing just, the hammers get hammered, the mirrors get hammered here. So I was able to find these off of, again, I think it was the Lazada I got these, and they're like $15 landed to me. So I think they're pretty good. I will have to rip them off for when we go for our long travel. I don't think this is the greatest idea for touring. I will have to go to a more tradition, and I need to get more of the, I need to get something for the protection here, the hand guards. So I'm looking at different hand guards to put on this that can fit. And when I do that, I'll need to find a more traditional style mirror. But I do like these for the everyday city driving. I do have the Fuelx Pro installed. I'm not really going to go too in depth on that. The Fuelx Pro has been covered by many people in the community. It's great. The Fuelx Lite, Fuelx Pro, whichever one you want. I got the Pro. The price difference wasn't crazy that much, so I just like having the different options. The other thing I did was the air intake cover. I did a K&N air intake, K&N air filter, and then I did a homemade, sort of like the DNA cover, air filter cover filter. Except I made one, I did a 3D printed one with a HKS replaceable sponge filter for car, and I just hot glued it on. It's pretty much the same thing, and that's another thing that we might look at manufacturing, because when you look at how much it takes to make that product versus what people are paying, I mean, the DNA I believe is for, it's like $75, $80 plus wherever you live, the shipping. Versus 3D printed hot glue, which is not the greatest quality in the world, and so that's why, you know, something that meets more of a $20, $30 range, I think is where that price point should be. So we'll look at seeing if we can maybe figure out a way to produce that too as well, because it's just a simple air filter on a cap. It doesn't need to be over $100 shipped, you know. So, but mine was $5. So $5 versus 70, 80, whatever. Yeah, it's pretty nice. So I believe that's everything I've done. Again, I got about 3,000 kilometers now on the bike. I haven't had any major issues. Pretty happy. The self-tune seems to work. I had a bit of issues with the exhaust, it seemed like, after I got the exhaust changed, and I believe it's due to the O2 sensor, lambda sensor being the position being changed closer to the header. Or closer in the header pipe there, and so I initially had some issues with initial starts or hard start, just starting in general. That has gone away. So I don't know if that's part of the self-tuning aspects or not. That one's tricky to me on that. The only other thing I forgot was a USB power thing. I have a USB power on the handlebar installed. This is going to be for the cameras and phones while we're traveling to get around. So now I'll do a little bit more in depth, show the parts more in general, especially the exhaust. I think it's really nice, the coloring of the titanium, and we'll go from there. Okay, going to go through more of the parts here. The first thing I'm going to do is go more into the rack. Just set my helmet here down. Again, the rack here. Now, you can see that the mounting, the concept for the mounting is not bad. And I'll shove the camera under here so you can kind of get some views of that. Not really sure how that's going to come out, but you know, the concept is not bad. What I really want to do is get this. This I want to go away with. This is the part here that's just, I think, really not well thought of. This this is what, you know, when someone sits and you ride with, it just digs right into them. Maybe you're a solo rider and you don't care, but I do care. And so the rack that we're going to be building will be more, a little bit more elevated, I think. We're going to work with some design and concept on that, and then get it attached here to the foot pegs, the passenger foot pegs, to get some more stabilization points. And then make sure that it's from form fitting and fits the style of the bike too as well. I mean, if you buy this bike, the style is pretty important. And so we're not really sure on the price point that we can get that to, but we're gonna do our best to make it really good quality. And something that everyday people can afford, you know. The price for this rack is, and I'll show you the plate that comes on with it. You know, you get this plate here, which you have some mounting options. You can turn it that way, maybe. I haven't really tried it that way yet. But again, it's not really what I want. Like, I want something that's a little bit more out and a little bit more, you know, just standard, industry standard, and this is not industry standard at all. So, and the top plate here it's okay, but it's not amazing. And I'll go into see the flex. You can see here, this is where they laughed at me. So not at me, they laughed at the product. The other thing we'll go up to here is there you have the fully adjustable fork kit, which is nice. The fog lights, here we have the Stunt Bars. Now the Stunt Bars, this is what I'm looking at. We might produce. The problem is they're a bit heavy. The shipping and such and the freight, that's one thing I need to make sure it's going to be okay. Because it's not, you know, you need the welds and such to be solid, so you don't want to make too many pieces out of this. So what I'm thinking is we need something similar, but not with these, not so much of this. I'd like something that was more modular, so like when you go touring, you could have skid guards on for the city, and then be able to unscrew them and have it more ready for off-road or dirt touring situation, you know. So we'll look at that, I think, as a third project. That'll, you know, the second, or I believe the second, which we might get done before the rack is done, but we haven't really gone too in depth with this one, is the bar raisers. Now I know there are some bar raisers out there. There's some that you can get that just go here and then raise it up, but I really like this one, how it's up and then pulls it back a bit. The fill is really nice, but again, the production quality of this, whoever this company is, there's no brand really, did not do a great job. The material seems fine, and so it is solid for me to use, but we had to fix it, and it's not something that should be landed to a customer. But you can see here a little bit more how that's working. So we really want to, I think that's something that we could easily produce, get it at a really decent price point, and get it out to people in the community. So we're gonna try that. The other thing that I'd like to go into is the exhaust. Now, I'm a big fan of this AliExpress cheap thing. I mean, you'll hear a lot of people seem to get pretty emotional about their slip-ons. To me, the technology is not crazy. You can spend a lot of money. I know people who spend a lot of money. Nothing against you. I actually have, this is my second exhaust I've bought for this bike. I bought more of a name brand one from Thailand. I forget the brand that it's called now, but it's a decent one. But I preferred the look and style of this one. Now, the one thing that I had to do was put the DB killer in. Just a generic DB killer, fit right in there, no problem. And the sound is pretty good. I'll go ahead and turn it off, or turn it on, so you can hear it. The other thing is the titanium exhaust. I know a lot of people can buy there's like the competition, CompWorks or whatever you call that one. It's super expensive for their stuff. This I had made in here in Vietnam, full titanium, which is good for heat. And you can see down here, I'll get a little closer shot. And you can see I had them, they can color it for you, or they can make, and I just wanted to have it naturally start doing its colors itself. So you see how the purples and the blues and the golds and the purples, and it's been evolving over the last, I think I've had this now for about 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks. And the colors just keep evolving, and the purple's been coming back, and that goes with the temperature and time. And so I really like, at first I was gonna spray paint, I was gonna get a cheap exhaust and spray paint it black with high temp black paint. But now this has really grown on me. So I like this natural process. They do have the shop that I was working with, they do have the ability to color them up, you know, get really high temperatures, get it to like a really nice gold, which is cool. But I just really wanted, I was really interested in the natural process, so I went that route. The other stuff that we will go into is, I will take a second here, I'll show you the lid cover that I did, just because we're, you know, interested if we could get that product out to the community with a decent filter, you know, for something around $20–30. It's even $50 would be fine. You know, it's a little bit expensive then to me, but for what it is. So, and maybe something that could have an insert of a standardized like K&N or DNA filter that you could slot into it would be nice too as well. So we'll see. Because I'm sure performance-wise that doesn't really change much, but it does create a nice sound, that sound when you get on the throttle. It does create that nice, enjoyable sound when you have that, when you have the, so a K&N or a DNA air filter, plus that, it sounds nice. So I think it's something that people would want. I wanted it, but I didn't want to pay over $100 for something I knew it was not really needed to be over $100. The other thing here, so when I raised it up, you'll see that the height now, and the lean's a lot more. So with the lean being a lot more, it doesn't initially look so much. And what I'll do is I'll set this here. Let me set the camera down here, and then I will pull the bike up. So the height is significantly a lot more now. Push that down, make sure you can get it in view here. But the height of the bike is a lot more now. You'll see now that before I used to be able to be flat-footed on both sides, and now I'm tiptoeing it, which is how this bike is supposed to be. You know, some people complain and they want to lower it. Buy the Asian version, but it comes with less quality products. So That's, but now it leans like crazy amount, a lot more. And that's actually a problem here with parking. I run into a big problem when I park and such, because they're not used to a bike leaning that much. And so then I have to, you know, get more space to cover that. And I always have to, and getting it out of, I have gotten stuck before. I've had to learn sometimes I can't hop on the bike before I push it up. I have to push it up and then hop on right now. So I will probably get a new kickstand made. Probably get a new kickstand made here and get that changed out. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I'm gonna pause here and come back and we'll get the, I'll get it open and let you see the air intake. Okay, so we got the seat off now. You can see the air intake. I keep some extra tools under here. I don't want to have any problems, but you'll see that, you know, it was a simple 3D printed, and then I used an HKS air intake sponge. HKS is a common car company, air intake, Japanese company there. So they have replacements you can buy everywhere if you just Google HKS sponge air intake or something like that. I was able to find one. I think I got it shipped and delivered for, it was like maybe $5 for enough material to do it at least 3, if not, well, in hindsight, I didn't need to cut it as big as I did, so I can get this down to, you know, 3 or 4 times off of one of those. So yeah, you can see the air intake and such here. It doesn't look great, but it works. Okay, what I'm going to do now is, I've had some requests to hear the exhaust. So what I'm going to do now is, I've got a microphone mounted here. I have my mic, but I have a microphone mounted here. I don't really like this test, and again, because you know there's only so much you can hear through these mics. But I really like this, and I think I'll go back to a post that someone made on the community on Facebook recently, was that sure, you can buy a really expensive muffler, but if your plans are to go out and, you know, trash your bike a little bit, that's one piece you don't have to worry about if you get this. Like if I go out, tear up my bike, and, you know, crash, and that's something that's gonna get hit, I don't really care, you know? I bang it up, it gets beat up, and then I buy another one, replace it. It's what, $30, $40? Whereas, you know, people are buying LV, Aero, stuff like that, and those are not $30, $40. So I like it. I think it's pretty good quality. It fits nice. It's 51 millimeters, I believe, on the slip-on. I did not have any problems with it when I had the stock set up. It slipped right on, fit great. The kit's good. It comes off of AliExpress or Lazada here, eBay. You can get this exhaust in a lot of places. The nice thing too is if you're in a country where they don't really want you to be modifying your bike, it looks stock. So I'll go ahead and start this up. We're gonna hit the decibel limit, I'm sure. I think it's pretty good. Sounds pretty good. Sounds better than $40, that's for sure. So, sure, maybe there's a better tuned exhaust out there. But what's the tune, is it really worth the price? Sure, if you spent the money already, I'm guessing you're gonna say it is. So anyways, we'll finish with that. That's my bike, yeah.